Hello everyone, my name is Pacha and welcome to another episode of Tiergarten Edelwald. And before we start talking about what we are doing today here, I have to give you a little bit of a heads up, and that is because of my voice. If my voice sounds a little bit different this video, or it sounds a little bit gnarly, a little bit nasal, it's because I catched a virus this weekend, a nasty little virus that affects my throat. So my throat is a little bit sore, which of course isn't the best when you are doing a voiceover for a video, but I still wanted to do this. I still wanted to give you this video this week and not cancel it or anything like that. So if my voice sounds any different, or if other noises are a little bit different than usual or are there, please keep in mind I'm a little bit sick. I try to make this video as good as possible with the situation I'm in at the moment. So I hope it will be gone next week for the next video again. But at the moment it is what it is. But yeah, let's talk about what we are doing here today. And what we are doing here today is that we start with a new exhibit. This one for the striped skunk, an animal that we got, I think, 2 years ago or something like that, 2 years ago, with the Twilight pack, and an animal which I previously already built on this channel also 2 years ago for my Raven Creek series. There we did an exhibit for them in, of course, our American zoo, and then I did another exhibit for them, or I updated the exhibit I did for them in Raven Creek, also in Raven Creek, but that one I didn't capture it on video. I built it during a live stream. So I already built for this animal 2 times in the past, but still I wanted to include them here in Edelwald, mainly because the other option would have been armadillos, which we also did already in Raven Creek. But the problem with armadillos again is that you keep them mostly indoors in these climates, in these environments. The same was the case for Raven Creek, so there I still built an outside exhibit, but I wasn't really happy about it, never was really happy about it. And the same could be said about this zoo here, where this zoo is located. You wouldn't really keep them outdoors, because they are a hot climate animal. They are found in deserts and rainforests, stuff like that, so they are not really adapted for the colder climates in this zoo or in this country. And I didn't want to build a huge indoor area for them, because this was still supposed to be a more open plaza, basically. So I went for an animal that could withstand these temperatures, and this is the striped skunk, which is also found in the colder climates of North America. Though they are also found in the northern part of Mexico, if my research wasn't totally incorrect. So they're still somewhat fit. Of course, the armadillo would have been a more better fit for this area, but the skunk, I think, still works in some way, and it is still, for at least the European zoo visitors, it's still a quite exotic animal. I myself have never seen a skunk, so all the ideas or inspiration I got from this exhibit I took from the internet. I just googled skunk exhibit zoo, looked at some examples, and then made a mashup of things I liked and saw in there for this exhibit. And the second thing we are building here today, after this long talk, is that we are, as I already said, we are building the plaza, which connects this area with the Saki exhibit that we did last week for the white-faced Saki, and then in general it will be a plaza. And now in the last video, if you have watched that, I talked about that I don't want to make this a playground area, a big playground, a big kids area, basically a petting zoo like it is in the real zoo of Schönbrunn. And I still don't make it a petting zoo area, but I will add a playground, a bigger playground to this place, simply because it kind of fits. I have the space there. I don't really know what else I want to do with the space, so we add this playground from 2 blueprints. Both of them are linked down in the description. They are blueprints that I really like to use, because one of them is super amazing to do quick and good looking playgrounds with not that many pieces. So definitely check that out if you have interest in that. And the overall theme of this area is what we are doing here right now is this Mexican, Central American village type thing. To be honest, I'm not 100% convinced on the end result. You already saw it a little bit in the intro cinematic, and you will see it more in the end time result in the real time part. But despite me having over 2,000 hours now in this game, or even more, I didn't count it or didn't look how many hours I have now, but it's over 2,000 hours. I still struggle sometimes with building or architecture styles, cultural styles that I'm not familiar with. You saw that in if you watched that my Wahajami series, and also in my partly in my Raven Creek series, that I'm a European person. What I'm known for, or what I'm used to, are European style buildings, European style zoos, and this is something I can work with because I know how these things are set up basically. The same goes for the first buildings of Schönbrunn, the very classical Baroque type of architecture. I first had to get into it, but it was really easy to pick up what types of styles they use and how they are set up. So I could easily get into what the building in this style means to me. Now we have a different style, similar but different, with these more I think casitas. I think they are called casitas, or these Mexican houses basically, which are surprisingly similar to the Baroque architecture, the very classical architecture in Schönbrunn, or in Edelwald in this case, but also different because both of them use a lot of stucco and plaster. They use a lot of trims and bold colors. In this case, for this building, this hot pink or this grayish pink, and then you also have different elements like the use of these clay roofs, these clay tile roofs. You have the windows with these window guards, with these bars in front, and then you have more flat roofs, at least from what I saw, because I did some research. I looked up classical Mexican architecture and looked through pictures and other articles about that to get basically a feel for how this should look. But still, I'm not 100% convinced about what I created. Maybe if someone is from that area, has more experience with that kind of stuff, they can let me know what I could add, what I could change to make it feel more authentic. But in all honesty, I also kind of think we could keep it like that in this, for me, less authentic way. Because the reasoning behind it is because maybe these have been old buildings from the zoo, old Baroque Renaissance style buildings, like the ones we have in the Central Plaza, and they just refitted them, reused them, repainted them basically to fit this more Central American Mexican style architecture. So there is a reason why these still have traces or look similar to these other buildings, more similar to them than the Mexican buildings, because they are literally these older classic style buildings. They just have been repurposed basically as now a Mexican building, and since the similarities are there between these two architecture styles, this would make sense. And another reason I could see for keeping these less perfect or not as perfect buildings could be that it's a European zoo. We are not an American zoo, we are not a Mexican zoo. So in a European zoo that tries to emulate a Mexican building, Central American building, whatever you want to call it, there happen mistakes. There are mistakes that are made. Not every recreation is perfect, basically. So that they look flawed. They look a bit cheaper. They look a little bit wrong, uncanny in some places, basically. So there could be a reason made here that they have to look a little bit off, basically, to look authentic for a European zoo trying to remake or to rebuild these very Mexican buildings from a different culture, basically. So there are reasons they could look not as perfect as I would like them to be. But anyway, back to exhibit for the skunks. You see, I managed to get an albino skunk, totally by accident. I opened the trade menu, the animal trade menu, and the first skunk that I saw was albino. Lucky me, because they are not that uncommon in zoos, from what I saw, similar to albino raccoons, which are not in this build. But yeah, there are a number of albino skunks there, and another thing that was interesting, by the way, we are now placing these baskets, I think they're called, for shelter. Skunks like to use shelter or hide in shelter during the more brighter times of the day. They are they also are active during the day, but usually they are very sleepy during the day. They are more nocturnal animal, twilight animal, of course. So I added these baskets kind of like or for the purpose of hiding themselves, for sleeping, like little sleeping caves, basically. Anyway, I was talking about the size of the exhibit. I had a really hard time finding very solid information material, animal husbandries to see how much space skunks need. I always do some research before building habitats. I always look up information online from zoos and other organizations about what space these animals need, what needs they have, what I should keep in mind for building an exhibit for them. And for skunks, it wasn't really easy. I didn't really found anything. By the way, we are now building a food shop over here, or food marketplace, a food area for this plaza. But yeah, it wasn't really easy to find information about that. For the skunks, I managed to find a general husbandry manual for all types of mustelids, so wolverines, otters, weasels, martens, and things like that. The skunks are also part of the mustelid family. So I found a general care manual for these animals, and if I don't forget it, I will link it down in the description of this video. So if you're interested in also building for these animals, there is a ton of information down there, what substrates they need, what enrichments they need, what space requirements they need, all of these animals, not just skunks, down in the description. And there I found the kind of the formula, or the a list of different size needs for different types of mustelids. And for skunks, for two skunks, so a pair of skunks, the manual listed as total space of 29 square meters for their space, which and I think a height of, I think was under a meter. But we have an open top exhibit, so it doesn't really matter how high it is. But the space around 29 to 30 square meters, which is pretty small. But also these animals are not that big. They're also small animal, and it's definitely way far away from what Planet Zoo gives you. We think 120 or 200 square meters already for one of these animals. Would in real life would be enough for a quite large colony of these of skunks. And some zoos do that. Some zoos keep more than 2 skunks in an exhibit. I saw a zoo which had like 10 or so from the picture I saw. But anyway, my exhibit, of course, is not only 30 square meters big. It is around, I think, 120 square meters. So it's more than enough, well more space than they would need realistically in a zoo, and they would be given. So there's a lot more space for them to go around, to explore, to burrow, things like that. Because in the zoo we keep animal welfare in mind, and it's very important to us. We learned from the mistakes of the past, where we shoved animals in 2 tiny cages, basically, in the past of the zoo, of course, not in my building series. So yeah, I think I now hit a good middle ground between my old builds for the skunk and what the care manual says and what the game says they need, because my old exhibits for them always felt too big. I mean, you can look up my old one from Raven Creek, how big it is compared to that. They always yeah, the skunks always felt lost in it. They disappeared basically. You couldn't see them even if you're standing right in front of the exhibit. It felt like to me. My second attempt was even bigger than the first one, and I think with this one I hit the perfect middle ground between not too small, not too big, enough space for the animals to hide, but also there is space for the guests to see the animals and things like that. So I hope I now found the sweet spot for sizes for animals of this size basically, because the skunks are one of the smaller animals in this game. Anyway, enough of the skunks. We are now here building this food court. Food court is what I was searching for guests. I think we will sell tacos and one of the soft drinks that is in the game. Also, again, in this style of these casitas, these Mexican casitas, and this space where this food court is actually the space where in the real zoo of Schönbrunn there is also a food court, or there is a building where you can buy food and things like that. It just has a different style and things like a different building, and this is also where I got some food and then never ventured further into the child zoo area basically, missing out on all the maybe possible inspirations that could have been in this area but are not now basically. And you also will notice the empty space behind this building and to the left of it, also with some markings already made in plaster, and this will be saved for the next episodes. I'm already excited because the next video might be one of, for me, my most complicated builds. I know I said that about the giraffe house a couple of videos ago, but in terms of things I had never done before, it will not be a building in that sense. What we are doing next week's episode, it will be for one of the animals from the new pack. That much I can say. But the viewing area, what will become the viewing area, will be something rather unique that I haven't seen too many people doing in this game. If I haven't even seen one, I think I saw one person do it. Maybe there are more. Of course, I don't see every creation. But it will be rather unique and rather interesting if I can pull it off. Fingers crossed. I don't want to spoil too much to keep the surprise, but fingers crossed that it will work out, basically. But I will now leave you rather sooner than later with the rest of the speed build, with us finishing up this food court. Then we will add some tables, of course, some picnic tables where the guests can enjoy the food or enjoy their own food that they brought with them. We will then place the playgrounds. One will be a classical playground that kids use. The other one is more of an obstacle course, where Americans could say that it's dangerous. They could fall down. They could fall down from it. They could hurt themselves. But here in Europe, we don't care. We just build up. We make obstacle course with stones and with sticks. We make our playgrounds with stones and sticks, with all hard materials. And if the kid hurts themselves, not our problem, or better, no, not the zoo's problem. It's the parents' problem. They see the playgrounds, they know it can be dangerous, so if they don't look after the kid, it's not our problem. So keep that in mind when we are building this obstacle course, or using the blueprint of this obstacle course. This one exactly that it is, with all those sticks and stones. It is very common in Germany. I also saw a couple of them in zoos already, and they're all available for kids of all ages, basically. But we will do that, this playground and this obstacle course. Then we place a lot of trees, a couple of trees, because I quite wanted to build this be a forested area. And then we place a bunch of purple picados, so the little paper flags from Mexican culture. We'll place a bunch of them in here, between the trees and the buildings and stuff like that. I'm not too happy about yet, or satisfied with the purple picados. I had to make them myself, because the distance was too great, or was too big for the already pre-made ones, basically. So I had my own ones, and it's always, when you're working with curved ropes and things like that, it is a little bit tricky. So maybe they will change in the next episode or in the future. I will update them, make them better, make a better version. But let me know if you like them. Also, I didn't change the color at all of them. So this is also something that maybe we can change or update in the future. But anyway, I will leave you now to the rest of the speed build, the last couple of minutes, to not over treat my throat, to not over do it with them and lose my voice for the rest of the week. And I hope you enjoyed so far, and then I see you in the real-time part at the end of the video. Alright, and here we are already in our real-time part, and I tried to make it quick to protect my throat a little bit. It's already hurting from all the voice recording of the speed build, so yeah, excuse me if it's not as long and detailed as usual. But we are starting here in our little plaza area in front of the white-faced Saki exhibit that we built last week. So I just extended basically the plaza over here. And then we also have what I did during last week's live stream. Maybe you have missed that, but we did build this little toilet building over here. Just a simple building for your toilet needs, nothing more, and didn't include it in the speed build because it was not that exciting. But what is exciting is talking about what we did in this episode. And first of all, of course, we see all the purple picados hanging around. And as I already said, I'm not yet 100% happy with them. I think they can be perfected. They can be done something to make them look better, especially also the colors, because it uses the default colors so far. So let me know if you have any suggestions of what I could change about them. I always love to read that. And next up, we have our exhibit for the for the skunks. I missed the name for a second here. Both of them sleeping, very cute indeed. Also albino. And yeah, it's a very super simple habitat. Nothing to it basically. It's small, but it's sizable enough for these animals. And I also love our inclusion of the baskets as the sleeping caverns, sleeping holes. Basically, it's something that I saw for real life skunks in real zoos, that they used them, and of course it further develops this feeling of a backyard over here, also with the sun share and sombrero. This was and the barrels over here. This was something the vibe I was going for, this backyard feeling that I always love to do with animals like skunks and things like that. These backyard animals, these roadkill animals as some call them. So really happy about that. Also the inclusion of these spiky plants that can survive the winter temperatures, but kind of develop this idea of this is more of a dry area, this is more of a desert area basically, without of course we are not in a dry desert area, we are in a temperate forest, so these plants really help to convey this idea. By the way, in the background is our Jaguar exhibit, so if you're lucky you maybe could see a Jaguar walking around over there, which is super cool. And if we go along from here, we of course have the backstage building with nothing inside, so I don't bother showing you. There is no actual backstage yet, maybe I will do that in the future. But so far I just skipped that part, and then we come to our playground area with both the actual playground and the obstacle course in the background, both from the workshop as I said. Links are down in the description if you're interested. And lastly we have our food court with the Maxilente and what was it? The Pip Shot Juice or something? I think it's Pip Shot Juice. So where you can buy something to eat. Of course, themed after Mexico, Central America. And then you can sit down here and look on a green pasture, on a green field. For now at least. There will of course be some animals and exhibits over here once the zoo develops further. And just for scale, this back here is the panda exhibit and the hoofstock building. So we are quite a bit far away from everything. This is the Ocelot exhibit for a good measure. But yeah, nothing much else to show here so far. The rest of the zoo, as I said, especially this area, will develop over the next weeks, the next videos, and I'm really excited to see where this is going. And with that, I would say we have seen everything that we did in this episode. And all I have to say now is I hope you had a great time. I hope you enjoyed the video. And then I hope I see you in the next one. And until then, that you stay safe, that you have a lot of fun, and goodbye, everyone.